done, Kelly.
Oh, thank you. We're just.
That was beautiful. Ricky Byers, use me. I've heard Ricky sing that in person a number of times, Kelly, but
Wow.
I felt her in here watching you with that. Kelly sang Dona Nobis Pacem for meditation. And I didn't have the translation handy, and I can't always hold it in my head. Grant us peace, give us peace. Dona nobis pacem. Grant us peace, give us peace. Grant us peace, give us peace. Feel that in your body. Grant us peace, give us peace. And now, with those beautiful words embodying you, retranslate them, or not retranslate them, but reframe them with, I am peace. I am peace. I grant peace. I give peace. In Unity, we teach that we do not pray prayers of supplication and beseeching. We pray prayers of affirmation, of claiming, of knowing, of affirming. The power of our words is so important. You are amazingly powerful. We don't give ourselves enough credit for how powerful we are. I don't believe human beings were put on planet Earth, to the best of our knowledge, and as much as our space scientists and astronomers can see, we seem to be the only planet, at least within our galaxy, that has human life. Human life that not only lives and breathes, as a lot of plant life breathes. We have I'm trying to think of the word we have a consciousness that is very prevalent and noticeable. I think all plant life, I think all life has consciousness, personally. And that we all communicate. Everything communicates. But human beings have an ability that seems to, at least to us, rise above. And again, maybe that's our own little self-focused narcissism about how cool we are. Because we truly don't know the amazing aspects of all other living things, right? So even as I'm talking to you, I'm going, yeah, but wait a minute. Who am I to say that a blade of grass doesn't have as much consciousness as I do? It's just different. But that's taking us down a whole other path than what I had planned today. So we will come back around to the power of our word. The power of the spoken word. And Kelly and Terry and I came up with this talk subject when we were at the No Kings March last month. And before I went down to the march, I hadn't made my sign. I'm not much of a sign maker. And I don't know. get too creative, or you know what? It's not that I'm not capable of it. I'm just too lazy sometimes to do it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But one thing I was very clear of on that day, I did want to take a sign with me, and I did not want to proclaim no kings, because that just didn't feel right to me. And I ended up making my sign that says, only love reigns. Only love reigns. And I went, okay. So here's a little bit of information. In order for the brain to process the word no, it still has to first focus on the positive. This means the brain often fixates on the positive part of the statement first, which can make negative commands ineffective. For instance, telling a child, don't be mean, can still cause them to think about the concept of being mean. I think we all know that intuitively, and as teachers and parents and just human beings. So I just have had a bit of this thing with what they say. Over 7 million people came out on No King's Day to say we want a world, a country made of love and compassion and kindness and equity. But we were all affirming no kings, which was only putting the emphasis on king. So I had to play with that. And going, with that much power, and I have heard other words, that was just, the 7 million was what was RSVP'd on websites. That wasn't the number of people that came out. There are estimates of more than 20 million people. I don't know, I didn't do a head count, but it was a whole bunch. But the point being, I had to play around with that in my mind and heart, that if there is that much energy being put out there with no as the first word, that at some point the brain catches up and the consciousness catches up. That is my desire, to know that to be true. Words are very, very important. Extremely important. It is the feeling behind the words that give our words power. So it's important to pay attention to not only what it is you're saying, but how is it that you feel in your body when you're saying it? Because the emotions activate. So I was led this week, this is Charles Fillmore, Talks on Truth, to produce works there must be a working power. This is exactly what the word is, the working power of God. I love that sentence, to produce works there must be a working power. The working power of God. But then I went down. Are you guys familiar with Florence Scovel-Shinn and her writings? I really invite you to read her books. I think there's 5 books. The first one is The Game of Life and How to Play It. Your Word is Your Wand. And I'm not going to remember the others right at the moment, but look her up. And actually, because for the life of me, I have had all of her books on my bookshelf for over 30 years, and I could not find them. It's like, Florence, you're hiding from me. But that happened so that I could tell you that her works are available as PDF online. So you can find her work. Florence Scovel-Shinn was a New Thought person, not necessarily Unity, but all of New Thought is aligned. And you know the concept of New Thought that came into fashion in the late 1800s. It was not because the word was new or the idea was new. It was just new to that time in the mass consciousness of the world. Does that make sense? Because new thought correlates back to the beginning of time and all the great spiritual masters. So anyway, Florence Scovel Shinn, she wrote these, I believe, in 1928, in that era. The vibration of your voice becomes the magnet of your experience. What you say consistently becomes the architecture of your life. The vibration of your voice becomes the magnet of your experience. What you say consistently becomes the architecture of your life. What you say consistently and how you feel consistently behind those words. We are amazing creators. I had an opportunity this week. I wasn't feeling well. I had I've never had this happen in this way before, asthma symptoms. And it was getting quite acute. And so I was treating for that and doing everything that I needed to do for that. My energy was low. I wasn't feeling really well. And I was out in the world doing some shopping. And you know that when you go out in the world, when you're not feeling well, you know you take that with you. Buyer beware. Pay attention to who is going along with you when you're out running errands. And because my energy was depleted, I felt impatient. And have you ever, and nobody said this to me, everybody was kind, everything was okay, but I was very aware of how difficult it was for me to be showing up in the world at that moment. And have you ever heard yourself say, I need to get home and not be out here on these streets? Not because anybody else is doing anything, but because I am not in a place of, this is really popping on me, I am not in a place of positive creativity at the moment. So forget everything else and just go home, go to your couch, or as Leanne Morgan would say, I'm taken to the bed. If you guys haven't been watching Leanne, oh my God, that show. I started watching it, the series, for the third time last night just because I needed humor relief. Pay attention to what's going on within your body, how you're feeling, how you're showing up to other people, because they may not understand, and they may be going through their own stuff. Now, at the same time, be very gentle. Be very gentle with yourself. Always, the best you can, be very gentle with yourself. What is it Don Miguel Ruiz says, the fifth, the 5 agreements. Always do your best. And if you haven't done your best, then do it the best you can the next time. Gentle and forgiving. These quotes of Florence I took off of a talk, of a lesson that she gave. These are not from one of her books. What you affirm in the morning is what the world will reflect back to you before the day is done. So pay attention to your first words, to your first feelings, to your reality. And if you find yourself that you got up on the wrong side of the bed, go back to bed, roll over, get out on the right side, and go sit in the silence. Protect yourself from yourself. Your cup of coffee or tea can wait 5 minutes while you go and do some deep centering breathing. Whatever it is you need to do. But we all know this to be true. I'm speaking to the choir. I know that. But don't we all need reminding? Speak to your soul as a wise teacher speaks to a child. Firm in truth, gentle in tone, for the subconscious mind, like a garden, accepts every seed. You cannot afford to sow weeds of fear and reap a harvest of joy. Say to yourself, I walk in a world that is for me. I would just actually take that last part out. I walk in a world that is for me. Every step I take is on holy ground. I walk in a world that is for me. Every step I take is on holy ground. Every breath I take is a holy moment. So as we are moving through our days, as we are moving through each moment, let us set our intention to use the wisest, most loving words that we can for ourselves, for our lives, and for every other person in the world. As you watch the news, as you move in and out of worry, fear, disgust, anger. We have a lot of those emotions coming up for us these days. But we can transform them. Feel them. Give yourself the time. Give yourself the time to let them move through you. I've got another. Florence says, let your emotions pass like weather. Let your words stand like mountains. This is the difference between reaction and creation.
Ooh, read that again.
Let your emotions pass like weather. Let your words stand like mountains. This is the difference between reaction and creation. Reaction speaks from the condition. Creation speaks from the vision. That is where your power is. And in closing, if he gives hate, he will receive hate. If he gives love, he will receive love. If he gives criticism, he will receive criticism. If he lies, he will be lied to. If he cheats, he will be cheated. We are also taught that the imaging faculty plays a leading part in the game of life. This is from Proverbs 4:23. Keep thy heart, or your imagination, with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And so it is. And so as we take our love offerings in our hands and in our hearts, we affirm together, as I experience the awakening of divine consciousness, I offer this gift in celebration and thanksgiving.